Welcome back, everybody. Today I have yet another topic that I'd like to discuss that seems to be kind of what we do here. I talk about things and you listen, and you're gonna listen. Unless you don't want to. Then you can either hit mute, or just have it on in the background, or just leave. But don't. Just hang out. Last time we talked about the mysteries of life and how somehow a 10-year-old girl managed to give birth. Figured that one out. Today we're going to talk about something much more low-key. We're actually going to be talking about something more YouTube related here. All of this. I actually would like to talk about Dan Brown. And obviously not the author Dan Brown, but the YouTuber Dan Brown. Now I've never really known much about Dan Brown. I knew who he was. I would occasionally get linked to some of his videos from other YouTube people and stuff like that. But I really got interested in him around the time of VidCon, which was like the big convention, a big gathering of people from YouTube, and anyone that wanted to go could go. And there was tons of people from YouTube, people that actually worked at YouTube were there, and everybody, you know, was going, so it was on everyone's channels and everything. And I had seen a lot of people talking about Dan Brown's like new big project that he was working on, and it had been kind of like hush-hush and kind of the secret thing for a long time. So he had this big like 20-minute speech unveiling it. He had actually started what he called Dan 3.0, where he basically put everyone, it was kind of like an experimental Truman Show kind of thing. He's basically putting his entire audience, giving them complete control of his life for the next year. And there's, he has this website, the Decision Engine, where you can actually go on there and, you know, vote for tasks and things. And there's long-term goals and short-term goals and things. And in the long run, you know, he has ultimate veto power. So if, you know, someone's like, you should have sex with a corpse, and he gets voted up really high and everyone wants him to do it, he can be like, no thank you, I would not like to put my penis in that. And I was like, okay, well, I don't really know much about this guy, but I gotta see where this goes. And at first, you know, it was kind of slow getting into it, which even he admitted, you know, because he didn't really know exactly how to approach it, which I kind of don't understand. It's like, if you're gonna give someone the power to say, hey, I want you to do this, unless it's something totally horrible that you don't want to do, then just fucking do it. So he had some problems and he was kind of stressed out and blah blah blah. And so he was freaking out, didn't really know what he was doing, didn't really know how to handle it, and decided that what he needed to do was to hire an outsider to actually take care of the more technical aspects of everything. And this is where the story gets interesting. After a while, he ended up hiring somebody who ended up being another YouTuber, Michael Aranda, who, if you don't know who that is, you can click somewhere over here and it'll take you to his channel and you can check him out. So this guy, you know, was going to be filming and editing, blah blah blah, which was fine, because I was hoping that at that point that Dan might kind of get out of his slump and he wouldn't be stressed out so much, because some of the older, you know, videos that I'd seen before he started Dan 3.0, when he was just kind of vlogging randomly, he was a lot more animated, you know. He was almost not necessarily like a character, you know. He wasn't like Fred or anything, but he was a lot more, hey, it's Dan Brown. Not to that extreme necessarily, but he was a lot more energetic and outgoing. Even just like the introduction video to the whole idea of Dan 3.0, he's a lot more, alright, let's go, and he's excited and he's energetic. And now he's just kind of like, hey, you guys told me to do some more stuff, so I guess I'm gonna go do it, okay? Like, there's just no life left in it. It's very lackluster, and at first I kind of just wrote that off as like, okay, well, he's stressed out, he's got a lot to do, I'm sure it's tiring. So enter Michael Aranda, he's gonna take care of everything. And then there was this kind of back and forth of where Dan was going to live, because he went from living in a house with a roommate to moving back in with his mom to kind of living back in LA where Michael lived. Like, they went back to LA and they were kind of living together, and then they were trying to figure out where they were going to go. And they were going to start doing this big road trip as part of Dan 3.0. And the original idea was that Dan was going to go back home, get his stuff, get his girlfriend, and he was going to go back to LA where him, his girlfriend, Michael, and his girlfriend would all get together, get in a car, and start road tripping. And then apparently what happened, according to a Formspring post, was that he was actually supposed to go back for like a couple days, come right back, and then everyone would head out on the road trip. And apparently he was actually gone for like 2 weeks, and there was no communication between the two, like, at all. And when he was initially hired, apparently he was, you know, hired on, and he was going to be filming, I guess, pretty much the remainder of the year. I don't know if they had a specific time frame set out, but I would assume for the rest of the project. Then he got contacted to produce an album, and so they had worked out that he was going to stay with Dan filming and editing everything till about mid-November, and then he would leave to work on that album. And you know, he's waiting, you know, for Dan to come back to LA so they can set on the road trip. And then apparently Dan calls him like a couple days before and is basically trying to do that thing where you kind of hint that you don't want somebody to tag along, but you try not to be like total obvious douche about it. Hey, so about that road trip. Yeah. How are you feeling that? You feeling, I mean, do you really want to? Because, I mean, if you don't want to, you don't have to go. Are you saying you don't want me to go? Well, I'm just want to know what you think. I mean, if you don't want to, that's cool. Well, obviously you don't want me to go. Okay, well then bye. I don't know exactly how it went down, but essentially that's kind of what he said happened. And here's where it really sucks. I mean, not only did he kind of just bail on it, but where he's really leaving him in the lurch is that Michael's expecting, like he should be, to be paid for his services. He was hired. It wasn't hired on as a free service. He's expecting to be paid. He has not been paid. He's out like $2,000 because Dan is just avoiding him, essentially. If you owe a guy money, if you hired him to do work and he did the work, and then you just kind of bail on him, not cool, Dan. Not cool. I know there's people going to be like, well, you don't know the full story. But you do hear both sides, because there's the Formspring post that Michael Aranda talked about. I'll post a link to that down there so people can see that. So that's his side of the story. And he's not being a dick about it. He's not like, I want my fucking money, man. You suck. I'm never gonna... Screw Dan Brown. He doesn't do any of that. He even says, you know, I'm not going to be anything but cordial when I talk to him. I'm not going to, you know, flip out. I'm not going to start threatening lawsuits or anything. But he does say that he should have insisted that they sign contracts. But the only reason I even found out about this is because in Dan Brown's last video, he mentioned, you know, I've been seeing all the comments, you know, people talking about Michael Aranda. And he was like, you know, basically told people mind your own business. It has nothing to do with Dan 3.0. But you can't exactly welcome all these people into your life for a whole year and put them in charge of all your most personal, private things and then be like, mind your own damn business. It is their damn business. They're the ones, you gave them the power to do it. You can't just act like, well, it doesn't concern you. Because it does. And now, partly because of that, partly because since the inception of Dan 3.0, Dan's videos have kind of gone... I'm not gonna lie, they're pretty freaking boring. Because of that, and because of the whole situation with Michael, people are unsubscribing like freaking crazy. And I don't totally blame him, and it makes him look like kind of a dick. He's trying to say it was just miscommunication, but I think it's kind of hard to miscommunicate. I don't want you coming along, and I'm not paying you any money. So that's all I have to talk about. The battery on my camera is dying, so I'm going to get out of here. Thanks for watching, everybody. Remember to comment if you feel like it. Definitely click that like button, and as always, if you would like to, you can hit subscribe. I will not mind. Thanks for watching. Tune in again next time. Peace out.